Awakened Radio Network is thrilled to announce our brand new magazine, Thrive Evolutionary Consciousness. The first edition will go out May 20th, and we are interested in your articles, your artwork. If you'd like to be included in what we're doing, reaching the world with a message of hope and change and love and personal empowerment, inspiration, information, and motivation, then visit our website, awakenedradio.net. Look up at the top where it says Thrive Evolutionary Consciousness. The details and guidelines for writing and submitting articles and artwork are there for you. We also have a group on Facebook, Thrive. It's the Thrive Magazine. Or just look for Awakened Radio on Facebook, facebook.com/Awakened Radio. And you'll find the information there to request being a member of our group. The group is just for all of the contributors of the magazine to take part. And I've got breaking news. I am thrilled and delighted and doing the dance of joy to announce that my hero, Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, has agreed to allow us to include a copy of her speech that she just presented to the United Nations in our first magazine. We are rocking and rolling. We're changing the world. We're doing it on purpose because we are remembering who we are. Join us. Join everything that the Awakened Radio Network is doing. Visit us at awakenedradio.net. I love you. Peace.
Welcome. You're now tuned in to your unfolding senses on Awakened Radio, the show about opening to your intuitive senses. I'm your host, Ragozzine, and I'm on the air every Thursday at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. This show is brought to you by intuitionbyrob.net, where I offer tips and techniques to help you explore your intuition. Please enjoy the show and invite your friends to join us here as well. Let's get started. Hi, this is Rob Ragozzine. You're listening to Your Unfolding Senses. It's live, May 9th, 2013. Thanks for joining us. As you may already know, this show is about connecting to your intuition, your inner life, and your heart, essentially listening to your inner guidance, no matter your age, race, religion, color, creed, background, or ideology. Making room in your life for your inner voice to shine through, and mindfully stepping toward a life that truly matters. In other words, seeing the world in a whole new way through new eyes. Think of your intuition as a giant broadcast station, and you can tune in and connect with whatever you need or want to. You might even think of your heart as a giant dish. Your heart is constantly sending and receiving information. Begin to notice and connect with what's flowing into and out of your life. And with that in mind, tonight's topic will be about a continuation of fear and making changes and taking steps forward. And tonight we'll have a guest, Susan Larison Danz of FrontierBeyondFear.com, and we'll get to her in a moment. First, we'll do our normal opening meditation, but if you haven't joined us yet, please come to the chat room by coming to awakenedradio.net, clicking on the live chat tab, or joining us on the air by adding Awakened Radio to Skype, or dialing 334-649-7204, and you can type in your comments and questions in the chat room if you come to the chat room, or you can ask us questions live on the air. And if you're so inclined and you've enjoyed any of our shows, donations are always greatly appreciated. We're here at no cost to you, and there's donate buttons on the top of most of the screens here at awakenedradio.net where you can make as large or small a donation as you like. And after my show, there'll be another show, Frontier Farm Girl by 40, so please stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening tonight, and this show is about taking space out of your life to momentarily slow down, and for the next hour, we'll make time and space to connect inward and make room for stillness, and gradually, this space can unfold into your outer life. And with that in mind, I invite you to take part in the short meditation. And as we're talking about fear and stepping forward tonight, I'd like you to think about a question while you're meditating. You might ask, how is anxiety or fear holding me back? Or how can I help others to move past their anxieties? So, finding a quiet space and sitting comfortably and closing your eyes and beginning to breathe slowly and gently and releasing any stress from the day, breathing gently into yourself, into your heart, letting go of any doubts or any worries, and continuing your breathing, and let your mind quiet and your body rest. Feel yourself filling with peace and tranquility, bringing your focus to your heart and wondering, what has it been asking for? You may wish to bring your hands to your heart and allow the awareness of your heart to deepen as you breathe, settling into stillness. Feel all of your senses open, grow, and deepen. Know that this is a special place where you can clearly hear your own inner voice, however it speaks to you. Be mindful of how this space feels, and you might ask to have an answer for your question or notice any messages available to you within this space. And your inner ears might hear a word or phrase. Your inner sight might notice a color or shape or a picture. Your inner sense of smell might pick up a fragrance. Your inner taste might pick up a long-forgotten flavor. Notice all your sensations. Pay attention to them. If you don't understand what they mean, ask for deeper clarity and allow whatever comes to come. And if nothing does, that's okay. Be at ease. Don't force anything to happen. Rest in the stillness and inner peace. This could be the very thing that your heart has been asking for. Notice how your body feels in this time of stillness, breathing into the parts of your body that still feel tight or stressed, allowing yourself to feel comfort in this space, being grateful for it, and know that you can come here at any time. Gently reminding yourself that it's time to leave, having and feeling the gratitude for this connection and any messages that you received, and slowly bringing your focus back to the room and gently opening your eyes and coming back to your body. Tonight, as I mentioned, we have a guest, and it's a little bit of a shift in the way we do things here on Your Unfolding Senses. And it's, I guess, the 6-month anniversary of the show. So, woohoo! Made it 6 months. So I'm really happy about that. Looking forward to the next 6 months. But Susan has been, I think, on the air for about 2 years, 2010, I believe. She left the corporate world and created her own business, is a radio host on Frontier Beyond Fear, active blogger, author, social media maven, and teacher, all of which helps her to continue to ask questions about herself, life, and the universe. And she has a really wonderful blog, and she explores with many of her guests on her shows, and I've been one of them. So I welcome Susan tonight, and you can check out her website at frontierbeyondfear.com, and I welcome you to do so, and I'll post that in the forum after the show. So welcome, Susan.
Hi, Rob. Good to be
Hi.
here.
It's wonderful to have you.
Yeah, and I'm also in the chat. It kind of requires multidimensionality to be in the chat and on the show at the same time, doesn't it? But I'm in there.
Yes.
It's nice to be here in this space with you. That was a very relaxing meditation. It certainly prepared me for the talk today.
Well, thank you. Glad to have you on. And I've been reading your blog this week and exploring it. And I've been asking some of the same questions that you have on Twitter and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was all about if you were a teen, going back to your teen years, what would you be telling or asking your teen self? And I saw that you were asking some of the similar questions, and I thought that was really neat.
That's cool. I love it when synchronicities like that happen. You know, I have to say that when I was young, I don't know when I started this, I was pretty young. I used to talk to my future self. And so now I actually feel like I need to send greetings back down the line. Isn't that an interesting nonlinear thing to do? And yet as a child, and we didn't have long conversations. It was just kind of a hello, like, are you out there, my older self? You know, just sort of acknowledging me and wondering what I was doing. But a very nonlinear thing for a child to do. And so now, you know, one of the things I've started doing, for example, is putting out some of my poetry from my teens. And last night I explained why, because that teen would just hide it in a book and wanted it to be published. I think I tried a couple times maybe to submit them different places, but I just didn't ever really get them out. And so now it's like, well, you know what? I'm doing it for you across time.
That's pretty cool. I remember doing the same thing.
Well, isn't that
I hadn't
interesting?
thought about the poetry, though.
Yeah, well, you know, we really, if you think about consciousness, boy, this is going to get eclectic really fast, which is kind of cool. It's just so much more than we realize, including, you know, who we were. I mean, you really can think about the different stages of your life, and I mean, it gets pretty profoundly intense when you think about it, but it's actually really simple too.
I think there's a lot less separation than we realize.
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, today on my show I had a guest. We were talking about all the voices of the past, like brilliant philosophers and authors, and we just got this real sense, you know, this consciousness of humanity, it's with us now. We're not alone, and we have everyone with us who ever lived. In fact, some of us may be those people reincarnated as well, which I wouldn't doubt. I'm sure many are on the planet right now who've been here before and made huge contributions. So, and I'm a strong believer in that. I do believe in reincarnation.
I guess Donna's saying she just had this conversation a few hours ago. Okay, so we're hitting some prime spots here. I want to go back to hiding talent because I was reading your blog post about just that, and really, I think you've been blogging about that for a couple of weeks now, at least, just because you're talking about stepping out, being exposed, and having multiple accounts on Facebook. And I've really been looking at that for myself. It's like, okay, how can I reduce down and stop hiding all this stuff and just be me?
Yeah.
You know, don't worry about who's seeing this. Just let everybody see it.
Well, like I can explain for the listeners what happened to me is I work both professionally and as a volunteer managing various pages. And then I have a number of my own as well, just different pages on Facebook. And there happened to be one that's associated with my local community, with a festival here that I work on as a volunteer. And due to some weird Facebook change, I accidentally posted something from my radio program page to that community page. And, it just put me right out of the closet. I mean, I had to delete it because it didn't belong there, but it was a lesson because sometimes it really, I'm on a journey just like anybody else in terms of being openly ourselves in the real world. I mean, I say real. I mean, which one is real? I would have to say the metaphysical world is real to us, but, there are all these levels of existence that different people are living in, and we're all capable of so much. And it's sometimes hard to be out in the open as an openly spiritual, metaphysical person within your local community. And I live in a small town. Almost nobody knows that I have a radio show. And I do go on local radio quite a bit in Portland, but it's hard to figure out who I am unless you know my voice or you just happen. I mean, I'm on there quite a bit. There's a show here locally that I call into quite a bit. But you know what? It was an example of just spirit saying, okay, I'm going to, and I had actually asked before this. That's part of the story is I had said, how am I going to really step into being who I am? And it was as if my higher self gave me an exercise. I joked about being tricked into it, but it really isn't exactly that. I actually got exactly what I asked for, didn't I?
Well, do you think really just owning that really helps to shift something within you?
Oh, it does, and it's a journey. I mean,
Yeah.
Even after that happened, I had a long series, like a lot of engagement on my Facebook page. My Facebook page tends to be fairly quiet. People just occasionally interact with me. And then all of a sudden, we were having quite a lively conversation. In fact, people came in that I haven't seen in a long time. Even my brother ended up liking that post. I mean, it was amazing how many people were drawn to that conversation about what had occurred. And it was all about being authentic. And honestly, I was getting a lot of reassurances from people because I will say this, I have this radio program and I do a lot of teaching. I speak at conferences, different things. But you know what? I am on a journey just like anybody else. And I have things that I'm personally working on. And being openly authentic is one of them, especially among fundamentalists and evangelicals, which is the path I had come from. And there are a lot of my friends in this community that are, very conservative in that way. And it's hard for me to, I don't want to say it's hard. I am working through the process of letting them know who I am in an unthreatening way, because that is my goal, is to actually help them to see, this is your friend Susan, and she's okay. Even though I'm in this different spiritual place that they might have judged. So I think that we can really help people with understanding and make them really think about how they feel about all their relationships in the world. And so, that was part of this experience. But anyway, it was fairly profound and very synchronistic for what the topic was today, because none of this was planned; it just happened.
Right. It's, for me, I see it as just letting go of the need to have compartments.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily need them anymore, and to let that go and to ask, well, why were they there in the first place? Because of the fear, at least for me, that, they'll judge me. But who's judging who? It's really me judging the other people thinking about what I'm doing. And
Yeah,
it's really just shout from the rooftops. This is me.
it's true. And, I'm moving into a space where I'm not sure when it'll be out because it keeps evolving, this project, but I'm working on at least one book that's going to be very honest, and I have to be comfortable as I can be with having my name on this book. I mean, obviously my name is on a radio program and things like that, but somehow it just feels really important to me. There's something about publishing a book in an area that you just really need to own it. You have to just live it openly, and that's what I'm working towards.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and as far as my blog goes, that's actually recently been jump-started because I'm on a blogging marathon. If you haven't noticed, I'm blogging quite a bit. It's because I actually blog every night, even on nights when I'm really, really tired. And I blog around the same time every night, and I found that works for me. And some nights it's really, a very deep topic. Other nights it's more simple, depending on where I'm at. But I'm finding it's a really good way to connect, not just with other people, but with myself. It really helps me to explore thoughts. And I could be journaling. A lot of people do, and I think that's a great way to connect with yourself, too. But I just have decided to journal openly, and that's part of my authenticity experience. What I'm working through now is just allowing myself to journal openly, which is essentially what I'm doing.
Now, do you do any dream work or any connecting in with the journaling after you? Well, I guess those are two separate questions.
I really should. I shouldn't. I hate using the word should. It is something I would like to do. And I will tell you that ever since I was very young, I have had very vivid dreams. And they vary at times. Sometimes I'm not having them, but they kind of come in cycles. I also have lucid dreams at times, very specific lucid dreams where I'm interacting with people, sometimes with higher consciousness beings, and I'm lucid. In fact, those are my favorite dreams. If I go lucid, I'm like, okay, I'm in the dream now, and I go looking for guides, and I'm just going to get really out there. But actually, on my show, I don't even talk about all this, but that's fine. This is me. This is authenticity. I will, in my dream, go lucid, which means I'm fully there, and I know I'm there. And my first instinct in the last couple years especially is to see if I can communicate within the dream, because I want to use the dream to its greatest potential. I've had other dreams where I'm working through my fears lucidly. Where, like one, I jumped in the ocean because I'm not a really strong swimmer, and it's something I wouldn't normally do in real life. And I had a dream where I was just standing over the ocean, and I jumped in the ocean, and I was okay. And it was like, see, I can do this. And so that was really symbolic. Those are the lucid ones. And then, there are others that are not lucid.
Well, I asked just because I've been reading your journaling, and it seems so vivid. Mm-hmm. Seems like you are processing a lot of clear images from somewhere.
Well, it's probably not direct. I mean, I'm not directly doing that right now. Ironically, right this in the last couple weeks, I haven't had too many that I remember real well, but I know that dreams are significant for me. When I was young, in my teens, they used to be so vivid, and because I was in a conservative environment at that time, I used to think, oh my, I'm some kind of a witch. I shouldn't say that, but it's true. I used to think that there was just something would have been viewed as not correct or evil back then. And because these dreams were just so incredibly vivid and symbolic and magical. But I think they really were trying to usher me into my path, even though it took many years for me to really step into it. I kind of ran away from myself for many years, Rob. I was afraid of the metaphysical world, and even I just didn't understand the really, quite honestly, magical things that were happening. I couldn't reconcile them to my life very well, and so I ran away for a long time, and then I had an experience that kind of reminded me of my mortality, just a health test that was scary, and for a little bit I, really felt my mortality. This was in my late 30s, and it really led me to question, because I realized I had no spiritual anchor, that I had run away from all of that, and as much as I could anyway, and I asked to be shown the way very, very intently. And right after that, all these synchronicities started happening. I mean, just amazing things. People started just walking into my life. I had one neighbor who I had only known as an acquaintance. She invited me out to coffee within a couple days, and we sat down. It turns out she totally understood that we were human beings that we were divine beings having a human experience. And just out of the blue, this woman very bravely started explaining this to me, and we didn't even know each other.
That's awesome.
I mean, talk about intuitive. And actually, she's been on my show. She's a very old friend, and she's an author. Her name's Gail McCain. And it was amazing that she picked up my message, essentially. And we were just two moms, hardly even knew each other before then. And she just somehow knew that it was time to talk. Spirit guided her. And that then led to all kinds of things. I started to discover many things. And that's where I started down this path of being on a spiritual path.
Well, we're coming up on a break here,
Okay.
So we'll have to talk about that coming up.
All right.
We have about 2.5 minutes left till break. You want to talk about your links in that time?
Oh, sure. The main link actually will take you everywhere else is frontierbeyondfear.com. That is the link to my show page, and from there you can go to my blog, and you can also, even all of my professional stuff is linked from there on my About page, because I work professionally in the spiritual community, helping people with getting into conferences. I help authors get into conferences. I help people with social media. And it's all there. If you go to frontierbeyondfear.com, you can learn all about me, and you can even find a couple of Rob's shows if you look in the archive, because they're all out there. So.
Okay. Well, if you'd like to join us, come to awakenedradio.net/livechatroom.php, and you can join us in the chat room or by calling 334-649-7204 or adding Awakened Radio to your Skype. And if you have a question about what we're talking about, you can post that in the chat room and we'll talk about that. And that's what we'll talk about when we come back. We'll continue our dream, synchronicity, fear discussion, and please do join us.
Hello, I'm Donna Devane, station owner here at Awakened Radio Network, and I wanted to take a few moments to answer some questions that I've received from listeners. One is, how can I support the Awakened Radio Network? Well, one of the easiest ways for you to do that is to visit our website at awakenedradio.net and check out our online store. We have stones and crystals, jewelry, medicine bags, dream catchers, coaching sessions with a few of our hosts in there, autographed copies of both of my books, lots of things that can help you on your journey and celebration of your life. Also, we do have donate buttons throughout the website. When you make a donation to the Awakened Radio station, you are saying, kudos, I love you, thank you for what you're doing, keep doing it. And you help us to stay on the air and to expand our operation. A lot of times we're asked, well, how much do I donate? That is entirely up to you. Listen to your heart. I've told people over the years, I don't want your power money. I don't want your grocery money. Share from your heart. The Awakened Radio Network is built upon the foundation of co-creating, all of us working together. We don't take grant money. We don't have corporate money. We are self-supported by our host, by some of our sponsors, our small businesses who sponsor us, and by ourselves and listeners like you. There's no amount too small or too large for that matter. If you love what we're doing and you'd like to see us expand, then shop in our store, make a donation, or perhaps you'd like to host your own show. All that information is on our website at awakenedradio.net. If you'd like to contact me for questions, do so. Send me an email at awakenedradio@gmail.com, or you can add Awakened Radio to your Skype contact. Don't just call, because you may call in the middle of the show. Send me a text message there, and I'll get right back with you to have a conversation and answer your questions. Know this, Awakened Radio is about you. We are here because we care. We stand by and we live the messages that we present to you here on the airwaves. We are about information, inspiration, and motivation for those who are changing their lives. Peace.
Thank you for joining me, Rob Ragozzine, here on my show, Your Unfolding Senses. Please feel free to join us in the chat room or call us here at Awakened Radio with your intuition or healing questions. Simply dial 334-649-7204 or add Awakened Radio to your Skype. And we're back. And thanks for joining us, Susan.
Yes.
And we were just talking about stepping forward and really coming into our own power and really connecting with our own spirituality, if that's what you want to call it. I guess stepping away from doubt and fear and really connecting inward. And I guess for me, the things that have helped is to have a regular practice, to sit down and meditate regularly and to obviously do other things. For instance, to have a joy practice or a gratitude practice. For instance, for me, when I wanted to really develop my joy, I would watch comedies like Bob Newhart or Mary Tyler Moore, and over time I felt lighter and happier, and I would combine that with meditation, perhaps seeing my perfect day and then feeling lighter and more joyful. Is that something that you would do?
Actually, that's a really good idea. I hadn't really thought about a joy practice in such a way. I don't know if I've done it consciously like that regularly, but that's something that I'm gonna do. For me, probably the most consistent thing that I do is meditative walks in nature out here in the Pacific Northwest where I live. And that really connects me to spirit. I actually found, I used to be concerned, although I am actually working on developing more of a formal meditation practice where I set aside more time just for utter stillness. However, that has not typically been my way. I've done it at times, but not necessarily as consistently as a lot of teachers do, until I finally realized that walking was my meditation. And it was really interesting. Once I realized this, there was even a confirmation in the news. I love that, where there was something in the news within the last couple months that said, walking in nature, they have proven, puts your brain in a similar state that to a meditation. and I think many of us have known that. I mean, you can feel it, you know. And it was just kind of nice to get that confirmation, because I think sometimes, and I'm not immune to this, we have a tendency, or I do, to kind of say, you know, I really should be doing this, or I really should be doing that. And it's just kind of funny that I was doing something all along that was helpful. And then without putting a should in it, I'd like to say more, I would like to do more, you know, sitting quietly with meditative music, you know, and maybe some other things I would like to do more of, just to enhance my own practice. So I like to say it that way more than should.
Right. But you do the journaling, which really helps you in the same way as some of these meditative practices. That's why I was asking about the dream work, because it seems like that really helps you to process in your own way, because you're doing it on a regular basis.
And one thing I'd like to do is start writing down more of my dreams. I have shared a couple on Facebook, but I think one of the things I may start using my blog for as well is, if I do have a journal right next to me when I wake up, I may actually share some of the dreams themselves, because I think that would be beneficial for me and for other people who are reading the blog. So that's something I'm looking at doing. You know, I could start it whenever. You know, it's funny. I'm in kind of an inactive dream cycle right now. Although I can set my intent, and I'll have a dream. I've had some pretty vivid dreams. I had one. Here's another one. Anyone who's followed my Facebook page in the last week, I've been dealing with a dog. My dog has been having some problems. She's been sick, and I was reminded of the previous dog that I had, and I was almost going to post this. I have it somewhere as a note. The night my dog died, the previous dog, I had heard that people sometimes dream of their dogs, and I couldn't really sleep, and I slept for a while, and there were no dreams. And then I woke up, and I actually just said, you know, where is my dream? I want to dream. I fell asleep and had the most amazing dream of my dog. I saw the light in the dream. My dog came running out of this light that was brighter than you could even imagine, and jumped into my bed in the dream, showed me that she was healed, because she had had cancer, and her face had become rather deformed because it was in her nose, and, you know, we had to actually put her to sleep. But, you know, she showed me that she was healed. Then she showed me holding a puppy. And
beautiful.
As if to say, this is going to be okay. And then she went back. I heard a voice call her to the light. And she ran to the light. I could see it like it was masked behind a curtain. And she ran there. And then she came bounding back to me. And I heard the voice on the other side laugh, like, you know, that it was just so amazing. I mean, I don't know who the voice was. It could have been an angel. There had actually been a young teen who had died in our neighborhood, and someone, in fact, that same woman that I told you about, she said, you know, it could have been her. And we started thinking, you know, who knows? I mean, it seemed very, very human and young. And then eventually my dog just ran back into the light, and the dream was over. But it was the most amazing thing, and I actually asked for it and received it, and it was as real as could be. I actually feel that I saw the other side in that dream. It was so real. And sure enough, a dog did come to us, and what's even weirder, that dog that came to us, which is the dog I have now, which was about 10 years ago, looked like my other dog. I mean, there was something about her eyes. My son, who was not, he was pretty young at the time, he saw it. We even brought her to the vet, and they gasped when I first brought her in. I mean, this is how much. And I still have pictures. I should post them. I mean, they're not exactly the same, but they are so close. And I really feel that dog came back to us. And she even showed similar mannerisms and things. There were things, I think they come back to us, Rob. I really do. And it's a reassurance to me now that this dog is sick. And, I mean, she's doing a little better today, but she's not going to have that much more time left. She's getting old. And even my recounting the dream to you right now is a kind of reassurance from Spirit that they come back to us. So anyone out there listening who has lost a pet, all I can say, and I did post my dream in a couple places for people at the time because I knew it was something people needed to see. I even sent it to Oprah when she lost her dog. I used to post on the Oprah forum, and I posted it there because our pets, they mean so much to us, and I just feel they come back, and they do come back to us. And even if we get a new soul of a pet, they're in a good place, believe me, because I saw it. And all there is laughter and joy.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was really something I needed to think about tonight, actually. So thank you for being the enabler for me to go back in that space, because it's a reassurance for me. And I know, like I said, I have this feeling someone out there is dealing with the loss of a pet, and they're okay. I mean, that's all I can say. And another pet will come that will bring you joy. This pet, I always called her my gift. In fact, she was just a gift from Spirit because she was just so much. It was like I never lost the other dog at all. So, it's really, really something.
I guess it's not getting stuck in the fear of the pain.
Well, we're always going to have some pain in life, but we can lessen it. I mean, I think that we can have, there's so many reassurances out there, and, we were in the chat just a little bit ago, someone was typing magic. It really is a magical world we live in. It's not what we think it is, and if we can just, or it's not what the people who are focused on the conventional world think it is, and in many cases that was us. And more and more as you awaken to what I view as a multidimensional world, that it's the real world. It's actually the real world. The other world is just a part of it. I mean, it's an amazing, miraculous place. And I feel that we really are shifting here on the planet, and that more and more of us are seeing it. And, that's when all these synchronicities happen. I mean, I know you've had synchronicities. I've used some of the tools that you use, Rob. In fact, I know you wanted to talk about that. I've used some tools like that in the past, and, oracle cards and things. I'm not an expert on tarot, but just oracle cards even. In fact, I'm sure I could learn a lot from you. But, you really can see the synchronicities when you're working with some of these tools.
See, I really view them not as necessarily a card, but it's like a mirror into yourself.
Right.
So it's not something to be afraid of. It's simply a way to say, okay, what do I need to know now? What haven't I been paying attention to? And you pick just one card, and you can look into yourself.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of the pictures, but to see them as, who am I now? What do I need to know about myself today? And that's what's pretty neat about them, because they always remind you of something. They always stir some powerful memory, some powerful emotion, helps to clear and shift, like your dream. It helps to shift something, and that's what the healing aspect is.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I'm still feeling the healing from that dream today. These things, they keep giving back to us, and I will say that I really like that view of these things being a mirror into ourselves. You're right. It's I don't know how to phrase it, but it's just like holding up a mirror. It's a tool just like a mirror. I mean, and there are many different ways to do that. And so I think that and I'm still learning. As I say, I have even more to learn about different things that are available to me. And we all have different things that resonate, but we can always expand beyond and learn more. That's always what I like to do, is be open to all these new things. Even numerology, like you know so much about, I find that fascinating the more I learn about it, and I have much more to learn.
Everyone has something to learn, and that's why we're here, I think, is to learn something, to experience, more importantly, to have the experience of being here.
Yes, absolutely. And, everyone, we have so much to offer each other, too. I think that's what I find, in the spiritual community now, and it doesn't even just have to be in the spiritual community. Everybody that you encounter has a gift for you, one way or another. That's probably one of the most intense lessons on the planet, that even people that, when my corporate career ended, some things happened that for a while I was resentful about, and yet people gave me the most incredible gift. What kind of soul agreement did I have for some things to occur that put me in the space where I would be doing the work that I'm doing now? And, I listened at the time. I could have gotten another job in that area. I had a job I really liked in a particular place, and that job ended, and then I could have done something else in the corporate world at the same place, and I decided to walk away, and because I just knew it wasn't where I was supposed to be. And that's when I created my own company, and that was we're getting almost to 5 years now. It'll be 5 years at the end of this year that I created Lighted Bridge Communications, which is my company. And, now I'm able to help giant expos that are spreading the light, and, I'm helping all kinds of people. And none of that would have happened if not for what seemed like an adverse situation, when it was actually exactly what I needed, just a little push. And then I took the step. I got a push, and then I used that to consciously take the step, to say, okay, this is the time. I'm leaving the corporate world, and I've never looked back. I mean, it's really a cool thing that occurred.
So it's really embracing your talents and not hiding them, like we were talking about at the beginning.
Applying them. I had these talents I was using in the corporate world in a very specialized area, and I'm now, and this is still expanding. In fact, this is the year where it's really started to expand more, I can now apply and expand these talents in the spiritual domain. And that is just so fulfilling. Every day it becomes more fulfilling. It does take some courage. I mean, when you're out on your own, and I've had my trials. It hasn't all been a walk in the park, I wish I could say. But even those times, and I'm still getting it to the point that I envision. It's all worth it, even when it's taking time. I mean, it's just everything happens in perfect timing.
and having compassion for yourself. That's definitely the focus for 2013 is the compassion and reminding yourself, oh, I'm stepping away from the shoulds. I don't have to tell myself that I should do this. I don't have to tell myself that I must do that and to step away from all of that.
You know what's so amazing, too? I was just thinking about this the other day. Rob, I have boundless energy. I mean, this is something new. I used to be so tired. I would come home at the end of a corporate day exhausted. I mean, utterly drained. I had almost nothing left, and I was a mother, so I still had to find more to do the laundry and, cook or whatever needed to be done, although I had some help with that. But still, I was so tired. And, now that I'm doing what I love, I go all the time. I joke, I'm working all the time, but it doesn't feel like work at all. I could just, when I'm not doing it, I want to be doing it. In fact, if anything, that's probably why I have to be reminded, take some time to be still and breathe and go walk, and because I would just be engaged a lot. And so anyway, I think when you're really working in your passion, it's amazing the gifts that come back to you energetically, and it then enhances your ability to continue to do what you're doing.
You're connected to your heart and your creativity, and that creativity is really awe-inspiring. I've been really working with art for a couple of weeks, and it started out with one picture, and then it went to two, and now it's, a wall full of them.
Wow. That's really cool.
Right.
Yeah, art is a wonderful way.
Yeah. Just to connect to the imagery from one dream and then to dig deeper and to see what's below that and what those images are connected to, and really to explore it in that way, and that's pretty cool. And
that is really cool. I'm impressed with that. And, it is something how our creativity blossoms in new ways. And I think it's just all expressions of spirit. I really do. These paths that we're on, they can really be amazingly fulfilling, and they just can keep expanding into places that you don't even expect.
If you don't turn away from it, I guess, is the things to embrace.
I hate to. One thing I do want to say is sometimes, I am not like this every single second. I do have my times when I get frustrated. It's not like I'm beyond the human experience here. I have to be careful. It's just that more and more I can really feel the shift. And I know I'm not tired like I used to be, and but I still have some adversity. I think sometimes these challenges come up to teach us. It's the only reason, or to move us forward, just like, when I left the corporate world. So I do want to be careful, because sometimes I don't want people to think that, if they're having adversity, that's a problem all the time. We can shift out of it, but when I do have it, I view it as a gift of some kind, or I try to. I remind myself to.
No, I try to remind people about discernment yes, you can take a leap, but make sure, I think we even talked about this on your show, can we take a leap and still make sure that we have some safety? And,
right.
Yes.
And I've probably been a little bolder than most, and in some cases, maybe it wasn't lies. In some cases, if I were to advise someone, there were probably some areas where I could have maybe built a little more of a safety net. Although it's interesting, I'm finding that sometimes these things appear right in front of you. And I've talked to more than one person who's had this experience where they really think they're at the end of their rope financially or whatever, and then all of a sudden something happens right then. And we've talked about it as the manna from heaven experience, where I come from this biblical background where when the Israelites were wandering in the wilderness, manna would come down from heaven to feed them every day, but it would only take care of them that day. And I would prefer not to live in that mode myself. I like a little more buffer than that. And yet, it does happen sometimes where it just comes through right when it needs to. And I guess, when you do face a real difficulty, you just have to work through it and envision a positive outcome. I mean, I think that really helps.
Well, Susan, we're almost out of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. We went through a whole hour. So thanks for joining us tonight on the show. Do you have any other additional links or upcoming presentations that you're going to be doing?
Right now, mostly I'm focused on my radio show at the moment. Probably the next conference I'll do will be in the fall, which is the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo in Portland. And I'm actually probably going to be doing another workshop in September. So I'll be putting out an announcement about that, where I'm going to start doing more paid workshops, just, standalone. So, again, frontierbeyondfear.com is my main site, and lightedbridge.com is my business site. So those are the two places where people can learn more about me.
Okay. And your Twitter and Facebook accounts?
Yeah, I'm Bridge Builder on Twitter, BRIDGEBLDR, and I've had that for a long time. And I do interact often, so I invite people to come over there. And on Facebook, I love it when people come and friend me on Facebook, and I really do engage on social media quite a bit. And I enjoy interacting with people.
Well, hopefully you'll get lots of new interactors.
Well, that would be great. I would welcome them.
Well, okay. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Rob. It was really nice to share this space with you that you're creating. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. I'll give out my links now. You can stay on the line. My links are here on awakenedradio.net at the top of the page. When you come to awakenedradio.net, at the top of the page, click on the Forum tab, and you can click on the Awakened Radio Show's interaction and click on your unfolding senses and scroll down, and there's a contact link to email me, and you can click right below that to go to my website, which is intuitionbyrob.net. That's .net. And you can also follow me on Facebook at Your Unfolding Senses, which is all about this show, and also Rob Ragozzine on Facebook, which is my main page. So you can also go to my Facebook account for numerology, which is Numbers by Rob, and you can come here to the Awakened Radio store and order a reading from me. And we're also looking for show sponsors, which we mentioned at the top of the show. Basically, you're endorsing one show, and your message will be heard at the start of the show for 30 seconds, I believe. And it'll be played in the archives so that it'll be played over and over again. Thanks for joining us this week. Please join us again next week, 8 o'clock Thursday, same time, same place. And we'll be talking about the same topic, a continuation of fear, and more about tarot and numerology, and looking deeper at our dreams and exploring through art and other means, journaling, whichever is appropriate for you. And once you get connected to the creativity, it's really inspiring, and that's what we'll talk about next week. Thanks for joining us.
'Cause we're awakened, you won't catch us sleeping through the fight. In life we're all eyes open, showing our inside and light so bright. We are awakened, come and join our love, it's so right. If you could feel what we feel now, you'd be a leader filled with might. 'Cause we're awakened, you won't catch us sleeping